Have you ever met someone who seemed pretty ordinary at first, but the more time you spent with them, the more interesting and oddly magnetic they became? In this video, we're diving into 6 psychological effects backed by science that can actually make you more charming if used the right way. Not only can these help you enhance your own appeal, but they also explain why you might feel unexpectedly drawn to certain actions or gestures from others. Let's start with something you've probably experienced before. You're watching a movie, and suddenly it ends without any real conclusion. You're left hanging, and it bugs you for days. Or someone starts telling you a juicy story, then stops midway with a casual, "I'll tell you the rest later." Annoying, right? But also oddly compelling. That's the Zeigarnik effect at work, a mental phenomenon where our brains tend to cling to things that are incomplete or interrupted. Simply put, we're naturally more affected by things that feel unresolved. Because of this, mystery tends to grab our attention more than clarity does. When someone doesn't tell you everything about themselves or leaves a story unfinished, your brain kicks in to fill the gaps. You start imagining, guessing, even obsessing a little. That's why someone can seem so much more intriguing when they leave just enough unsaid. You can use this to your advantage. For example, during conversations, instead of laying everything out from beginning to end, try pausing on a high note. Say something like, "I'll tell you the rest next time." That tiny moment of suspense leaves people wanting more. Of course, there's a darker side too. If you're, say, trying to leave someone emotionally hooked forever, which, by the way, I don't recommend unless you're okay with bad karma, all it takes is being super attentive for a while, then suddenly disappearing without explanation. No goodbye, no closure. That emotional cliffhanger will stick in their minds way longer than you think. On the flip side, when misunderstandings or conflicts aren't fully resolved, that same psychological effect can weigh heavily on a relationship. Lingering doubts, emotional tension, and unresolved questions can slowly eat away at what might have been something great. This effect isn't limited to relationships. You can also apply it to studying or creative work. Instead of cramming endlessly, try breaking things into chunks. Study a bit, then pause. Let your brain simmer on what you've learned. When you come back, your mind will feel fresher, and you might even see things from a totally new angle. Have you ever stepped into a room and instantly sensed something was off, even though nobody said a word? Back when I was working in an office, there was this one department that always seemed to stir up drama. People said they constantly gossiped and argued. One day, I had to stop by for a quick task. Everything looked normal. People were working. No one was yelling. But the whole time, I just felt this strange heaviness. I couldn't wait to leave. Then there were coworkers who were total mood lifters. You know the type, always cracking jokes, making everyone laugh. Just their presence could shift the entire atmosphere, making everything feel lighter and more enjoyable. That's the power of emotional contagion. And yes, it's been scientifically studied. Psychologist Sigal Barsad from the University of Pennsylvania ran an experiment to explore how emotions spread in group settings. In a simulated meeting, just one person was told to act either upbeat or gloomy. The results? A single cheerful person could boost the entire group's energy and productivity. Meanwhile, one negative person could drag everyone down. So, if you want to come across as more magnetic, start with your vibe. Be the one who brings the sunshine, not the storm. People are naturally drawn to others who feel good to be around. That doesn't mean you have to fake being cheerful all the time, but showing genuine enthusiasm, like smiling when you greet someone, laughing openly, or using open, welcoming body language, can make a huge difference. And here's the kicker. It works both ways. When you show excitement about seeing someone, they'll often mirror that energy. It's a simple shift, but it makes your interactions more enjoyable and helps build connection. Whether you're making a first impression or working in a team, keeping your mood in check isn't just for your own benefit. It impacts everyone around you. So the next time you're about to walk into a room, take a quick moment. Ask yourself, what kind of energy am I bringing in? Because chances are, others will feel it too and follow your lead. Let's talk about perfection. and why it's not as attractive as you might think. In 1966, psychologist Elliot Aronson introduced what's now called the pratfall effect. According to his research, a highly competent person actually becomes more likable when they make a small, harmless mistake. Why? Because it makes them seem more human, more relatable. Think of actress Jennifer Lawrence tripping in her stunning gown at the Oscars, or Sherlock Holmes with his razor-sharp intellect but messy personal habits. Or Tom Holland, an incredibly talented actor who accidentally spoils Marvel movie secrets in interviews. These little mishaps don't ruin their image, they enhance it. Here's the key. Perfection can feel intimidating. When someone seems too flawless, they can come across as distant or even make others feel insecure. But when a competent person makes a small mistake, like spilling coffee or laughing at the wrong moment, it softens their image. Suddenly, they're not just impressive, they're approachable. This can be especially useful in real-life scenarios. On a first date, most people try so hard to be perfect that they end up feeling stiff or nervous. But if you let yourself be a little clumsy or admit you forgot someone's name, it can make you more endearing. You're not lowering your value, you're making space for connection. The same goes for starting a new job or joining a group. If you try to pretend you know everything, you risk coming off as arrogant. But if you're open about your minor mistakes and show a willingness to learn, people are more likely to trust and support you. It shows honesty, humility, and self-awareness, all incredibly attractive traits. Of course, the pratfall effect only works when there's a foundation of competence. If you're consistently making major errors or acting carelessly, people won't see you as charming, they'll just see you as unreliable. So the trick is balance. Be good at what you do, but don't be afraid to let your guard down now and then. This applies to learning too, especially with something like studying English. If you're afraid to make mistakes or ask questions, you'll progress slowly. But when you admit you're stuck and seek help, you move forward faster. And while not everyone will have the time to help you every time, tools like AI-powered tutors can be a great backup, available 24/7 to explain things clearly without judgment. The bottom line? If you want to be more attractive, stop trying to be perfect. Be real. Be competent, but also be willing to laugh at yourself. That blend of skill and sincerity is hard to resist. Ever notice how close friends or longtime couples start to act, and even look, alike over time? The way they talk, gesture, or even react to things begins to sync up. This isn't just coincidence. It's known as the chameleon effect. Psychologists use this term to describe how people naturally and unconsciously mimic each other's body language, tone, or facial expressions during interactions. And when done subtly, it can be incredibly powerful in creating connection and attraction. Think about the last time you had a deep conversation with a friend. Did you find yourselves nodding in sync, laughing in similar ways, or finishing each other's sentences? That sense of being on the same wavelength is often the result of this mirroring. And it works because it makes the other person feel understood without a single word needing to be said. There's science behind it too. Studies have shown that people who subtly mimic others are often rated as more likable, trustworthy, and empathetic. One famous example is Oprah Winfrey. When she interviews guests, she doesn't just listen, she subtly adjusts her tone, expression, and energy to match theirs. That's part of what makes her so disarming and magnetic. Her guests feel comfortable, seen, and safe. So how can you apply this in your own life? Start by paying close attention to how the other person moves, talks, and reacts. Are they speaking slowly and softly? Match their pace and tone. Do they use their hands a lot when they talk? Let your gestures loosen up a little too. Are they leaning in while speaking? Mirror that posture with your own. The goal isn't to copy them like a mime, but to gently reflect their energy in a natural, respectful way. It's also worth noting that this mirroring isn't about manipulation. It's about creating resonance and showing that you're present and attuned. When people feel seen and reflected, they open up. The conversation flows easier, and a stronger emotional bond forms. This can be especially useful in new friendships, interviews, romantic dates, or even casual networking. But be careful. If your mimicking is too obvious, it can come off as awkward or insincere. Subtlety is everything. And always do it with genuine intention. If you're only mirroring to win someone over, people can sense that, and it may have the opposite effect. Done right, the chameleon effect helps you communicate on a deeper, more emotional level without saying much at all. Have you ever asked someone for a small favor, like borrowing a book or getting advice, and afterward they seem to like you even more? It might seem like your charm worked, but there's more to it. This is known as the Ben Franklin effect. It's based on an observation made by Franklin himself, who once turned a political rival into an ally simply by asking to borrow a rare book. After granting the request, the rival became surprisingly warm and cooperative toward Franklin. Psychologists explain this by saying our brains want our actions to match our feelings. So when we help someone, we subconsciously convince ourselves that we must like them, otherwise, why would we go out of our way to help? It's a kind of mental backtracking that helps justify our behavior. You can apply this in your own life in very simple ways. Asking someone to do you a tiny favor, something that's easy and non-intrusive, can actually create a subtle bond. Ask a coworker for input on a project to make them feel respected. Borrow a book from someone you admire to show you value their taste. Or ask a new friend to hold your bag while you tie your shoe, just enough to build trust without it feeling like a big ask. The key is to keep the request light and sincere. You're not trying to manipulate anyone. You're offering a chance for connection. And most people enjoy feeling helpful. It boosts their self-image and makes them feel competent. When done right, it's a win-win. Now, let's flip things for a moment and look at the final psychological twist, the reverse halo effect, also known as the backwards halo. We all know the classic halo effect. When someone looks attractive, we tend to assume they also have other great qualities, like intelligence or kindness, even if there's no proof. But the reverse can also happen. Someone who seems average-looking can become more and more attractive in your eyes over time if they consistently show warmth, honesty, generosity, or emotional intelligence. There's a compelling study behind this. A group of students at a summer camp were asked to rate each other's attractiveness on the first day. 6 weeks later, after living, eating, and hanging out together, they were asked to rate each other again. The results? Scores changed dramatically, especially for one girl who was originally rated a 3 out of 10 in appearance. By the end, she scored a 7. What changed? Not her looks, just how people felt about her after getting to know her kindness, humor, and openness. It's a powerful reminder that being attractive isn't just about how you look, it's about how you make others feel. Traits like honesty, generosity, and emotional warmth are deeply magnetic. And the best part? They're all skills you can develop over time. So if these psychological effects intrigued you, try experimenting with 1 or 2 in your everyday life. You might be surprised by how much more connection, confidence, and charisma you naturally create. And hey, if you found this breakdown helpful, feel free to like, share, or drop a comment about which effect stood out to you most. You might just inspire someone else to try it too. Thanks for sticking around until the end. See you in the next one.